Hello, and today we'll be reading the book called Journey, based on the true story of Or 7, the most famous wolf in the West, by Emma Bland Smith, illustrated by Robin James. Let's get cozy in your beds, because we're going to start this sleep story. The wolf took one last look at his mother and his father. This sweet-smelling forest of pines and firs had always been home, but he was grown now. Most of his brothers and sisters had already left to start their own families. It was time for him to do the same. He began to walk slowly away. If he stayed close to home in these woods that he knew so well, life would be easier. But as he peered into the distance, he felt an unexpected thrill. What was out there? What lay past the mountains? He walked faster into the unknown. Abby pulled herself onto a stool at the diner. Some ranchers at the next table were talking. "Did you see this? There's a wolf headed our way." Abby and her dad read the article the ranchers were talking about. They learned that a long time ago there had been wolves all over the country. Were there really wolves here before? Abby asked her dad. "Yes," he said. "There were thousands of wolves here in Northern California." They continued to read the article and learned that biologists were trying to reintroduce these magnificent animals to areas where there are vast stretches of wilderness, not too many roads, and not too many farms, just right for wolves. Then, about a year ago, something happened. A wolf in northern Oregon, Or 7, left his pack, crossed the mountain range, and was now traveling steadily southward. "I hope he'll come to California," said Abby, but she guessed that was unlikely. The wolf stepped over some fallen trees. His sharp ears heard a low click, and he turned his head toward the noise. His powerful nose caught a lingering scent of humans. His tail dropped down and he froze. The humans weren't here now. His senses told him that, but they had been, not too long ago. He veered away sharply and headed into the dense woods. Abby froze with a spoonful of cereal halfway to her mouth. The wolf stared at her from the television screen, the first photo of him ever. So that's what he looks like, Abby thought. The photo had been snapped by Hunter's hidden motion sensor camera near Butte Falls in southern Oregon, just 38 miles from the California border. "Dad, look," Abby said happily. She turned and grinned at her dad, but he wasn't grinning back. "That poor fella better be careful," Dad said quietly. Abby's smile disappeared as her dad explained that while most people were excited to welcome back this shy visitor, others thought that the wolf would hunt their sheep or cows, and that it should be chased away, or worse. Abby was so worried that she could barely sleep that night. Loping along the ridge overlooking a giant lake, the wolf sniffed the frosty air. He smelled grouse and porcupines, deer and snowshoe hares, but no one like him, no wolves. He wanted to find a female wolf and create a pack of his own, the litter of pups. If he turned around and retraced his steps all the way back home, he may have a better chance. If he kept exploring this new land, could he find a mate? He paused, then picked up speed, as his instincts drove him on into unfamiliar territory. He crossed the border. Abby could hardly believe it. For weeks now, she had been following the wolf's route on the internet. The last update said he had been near Crater Lake in Oregon. Today, she learned that he finally made it into California, becoming the first wolf in the state in almost 100 years. Excitedly, she stuck a new thumbtack into the map on the wall. Going back to the computer, she scrolled down the screen and read comments from other readers. Many people were happy about the wolf, but others were afraid. And the fear was turning to anger. "That wolf better keep away from my farm, or else," one comment read. Abby knew what that meant. The wolf was in danger. Was there anything she could do to help? The wolf pushed on, weaving around boulders dotting the fields. As he traveled, the sun rose over the enormous mountain, and meadows gave way to forests. Deer grazed, froze, then fled, and rabbits zigzagged wildly through the thickets. This was good land, wolf country, but where were the other wolves? Wolves live better in packs, not alone. Hunting is more difficult alone. Sleeping is more dangerous alone. The wolf had to find a companion, and soon. "A contest to name the wolf," cried Abby, listening to a local radio broadcast. A conservation group was asking children to send in suggestions. This could be her chance to help them. She got out her notebook and pencil. "Brownie? No. Cow for California? No. Spot? No. Ori for Oregon? Maybe." She thought for hours, and then it came to her. One day, after he'd left the mountains for the flat, dry plains, the wolf spotted an animal in the distance, racing through the sagebrush. 2 of them. 3, a whole pack, not quite wolves, though coyotes. He quivered with excitement. Shyly, he introduced himself, and they ran together. Could he make a pack with these creatures? "Abby," called Dad, "it's for you." "Hello?" Abby wasn't used to getting phone calls. Her confused look became a smile as she turned to her dad and said, "They chose Journey. They chose my name." After that, the news spread like wildfire. Within days, the whole world seemed to know about Journey the wolf. That week, Abby's teacher taught a lesson on gray wolves. Her cousins in New York called to say they'd read about Journey in the paper. Even her grandparents, far away in Mexico, heard the news. Journey is famous, too famous to harm, just as the contest organizers had planned. Abby hoped he would be safe now. Back in her room, Abby studied her map. The trail of thumbtacks showed that Journey had turned around. He was still in California, but heading north, and that made Abby nervous. Would Journey stay here or head back? Now, all over the world, people were watching, listening, and hoping. Journey left the coyotes. They were too different, not for him. He left the plains behind and roamed. Week after week, month after month, he spent his days exploring, always looking out for other wolves. What was that shadow? Only an eagle. And that smell? Only a bog pet. Winter came, then melted away, and the wildflowers bloomed under the pine trees. Journey put his nose up in the spring air, and if he didn't find a mate soon, he might just give up and go back north to his old pack. He let out a long howl, broadcasting his presence. To his surprise, for the first time on his long journey, for the first time in almost 3 years, he heard an answering howl. "There's a girl wolf." Abby stared at the newspaper. A wildlife biologist had taken photos of Journey and another wolf. Smaller than him and jet black, a female. They were in Oregon, just on the other side of the California border. Journey didn't go all the way back home. He was still nearby. With a little detective work, scientists figured out that the female wolf was like Journey. She was a long way from home, a traveler. Had Journey found what he was looking for? Did that mean he would stay? Maybe Journey's story was just beginning. Maybe wolves were here for good. Maybe one day Abby and others would actually be able to see one of Journey's descendants, or hear wolves howling in the distance in the night. The two wolves settled near a river, in an area where there was space to run, wildlife to hunt, and no humans. It was just the right place to raise a family. That summer, when the little pups stumbled out of their den, blinking in the sunlight, Journey was there beside them. Along with his mate, he got food for them and played with them. And as they grew, he taught them how to survive here, in these woods, their home, this vast stretch of wilderness, where there was not too many roads and not too many farms, just right for wolves.